Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Inside Sports Talk with your host, Johanna-Rosalye. I am joined here today with my wonderful co-host, Edward Cole. And today we are joined by reporter, broadcaster, podcaster. He does it all with Fox Sports and Big Ten Network, our friend Coley Harvey. How are you tonight? Thank you for joining us.
I'm doing all right. Thank you guys for having me.
Hey, Coley, how are you, brother?
Doing well. Nice to meet you, Ed.
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming on with us, brother. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, long time no see, no talk. How's the cold weather treating you? I've seen your stories on Instagram and that snow. My gosh.
I am so tired of the cold. I am so over this. I got to get somewhere warm. I got to get where you guys are. Yeah, it's like the last 3 weeks or so, it's just been snow after snow after snow. It's been almost every day the last couple of weeks where it snowed, and I'm just tired of it.
Well, we've got never-ending sun out here for you, Coley, so jump on a plane and come on out here, bro.
I'm coming tomorrow.
Hey, just go down here because, if you want whenever you want the snow, you can just head up north and not have to deal with the shoveling and running, in 10 feet of snow.
Yeah, I'm done with the snow. I don't need any more of it. If I come down there, I'm staying. There
you go. It's been a while since I've seen you down. So you're welcome anytime. And, once COVID's over and we're good, you can, meet up and have some good, good drink, a good lunch or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, there's been so much happening with sports lately. And today or the last 24, 48 hours have been a little bit crazy, right?
Yeah. Between the Australian Open, spring training starting, Carson Wentz going to Indianapolis. Yeah, it's been kind of busy.
It has. And let's go ahead and kick it off with, and now that you mentioned it, the Australian Open. I wasn't able to catch the entire match, but I was able to catch some of the highlights. And Naomi and then Serena, that match, and then seeing Serena, it just broke my heart, at the end in the press conference, how she just had to, couldn't even hold it and had to leave. What went through your mind? What were your thoughts? Naomi, she's a killer and she's like the next Serena, but, chime in here.
Honestly, that's what it is. I mean, it's truly a passing of the guard, and we've kind of been seeing that. We saw with the U.S. Open, I guess it was technically 2 years ago now, the U.S. Open, where she and Serena first really kind of met, kind of in that semifinals, finals format. And now it just seems as if this is a passing of the guard. And I think that really became evident with this most recent semifinal in the Australian Open, that what Serena was doing to other tennis players for all these years, we're close to 20 years now, where she's been at the top of her game, and she still very much is at the top of the game. It's just that Naomi Osaka she's younger, so she's beginning to pass Serena in that regard. And I think if you really were to ask Serena Williams what she thinks of all this, that's what she would say is, look, she is over the moon excited for what Naomi Osaka is doing and what she's bringing to the sport of tennis, and the fact that she's not just continuing to dominate on the court, but even some of the things off the court that we've seen from Naomi Osaka. I'm thinking about the U.S. Open last year, where she came with the 7 masks with people's names on them who, been killed by police. And just the fact that she's also been thoughtful that way, I think that even Serena Williams is proud of that. But that being said, yeah, it's crazy to see. You watch them and you want to continue to see Serena do well, because she is the greatest at her sport, and arguably one of the greatest athletes of any sport that we've ever had. You still want to see her do well, but at the same time, you want to see the young up and comer do well. And it's been very nice to see Naomi Osaka kind of following in her footsteps and carving her own path as well. Definitely.
And Naomi's so young, and just seeing her, how well she's just gone from when she started to where she's now in such a short amount of time, and how much more she has left to go.
Yeah. Well, one thing I think about too is how when she first kind of came up into the limelight, gosh, I guess it's been about 4 years or so now, 3 to 4 years, where she was really nervous at first speaking in front of the cameras, addressing reporters after the matches. And now she just kind of does her own thing. You know, if she doesn't understand where a question is going to go, she's going to let you know that. She's totally comfortable in her own skin. And I think that just goes, and that also shows kind of the growth and maturation process that she's also gone through right before our own eyes. And, you know, I'm really curious to see how she continues to evolve throughout her career.
Yes. And no doubt about that. There's a little bit more curiosity I want to ask you about. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and get our good friend, PLR. You know, you're familiar with our favorite person here, an amazing friend. How are you?
What's going on? I apologize for my lateness. This basketball practice, we're about to get going, but, you know, when there's a superstar like Mr. Harvey, I gotta at least make an appearance and say what's happening.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good. How you been?
Been great. It's been a long time.
It has. You're spending a lot of time in my city now. You know, good old Chi-Town. So
I keep forgetting that you're from here. Yeah.
Yeah. Every now and then I'll wear something that says I'm from Chicago. Every now and then.
Every now and then. All the time. He's got black
higher, you know.
Yeah, he rocks Chicago Cubs.
Black Hawk, you're Black Hawks out right now.
You know, on an off day, he rocks Chicago Cubs gear.
Whoa! Don't go that far. Whoa! All White Sox all the time.
Yeah, oh, that's right.
Careful with that one.
Yeah, I don't mean to blaspheme. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'll let that one slide.
Well, now that our basketball guru is in here, and I want to ask the question that started with NBA. We have the All-Star game. It's been revealed that it's going to go ahead and go forward. The starters have also been revealed. Adam Silver stands by his decision. He's getting a lot of pushback. There's a major controversy with that. So I want to go ahead and kick it off with PLR. You're no filter here. What is your stance? What do you think? Is this the right move or the wrong move?
There's this line from New Jack City, a movie that I know you still haven't seen, where Nino says, "It's always business, Mr. Washington. This is purely a business money decision. You get more eyes when you have stars in one place. Should they have an all-star game? No, they shouldn't have an all-star game. There's no way. I mean, you have teams postponing games now. Why are you going to fly the best of the best players into a city and have them all together? That makes absolutely no sense. But market-wise, money-wise, TV-wise, contract-wise, remember, there's a lot of stadiums that are not putting fans in. You got to make up that money somehow. This is TV money. Now, the one thing you did say, though, that kind of caught my attention, Adam Silver is not doing anything without the players' blessings. So there are some union people, Chris Paul, who knew that this game was going on and that this thing was going to happen. So I don't think it's shocking players as much as they're making you think it's shocking them. I think what's shocking them is that the decision was made to go ahead and push through with it. So there will be an all-star game. It'll be different, but everyone has to get a little bit of that money. And like I said, watch the movie and you'll know what I mean. It's always business, Mr. Washington.
Go ahead and jump in, Coley.
You know, I get the money aspect for the year that we're in, right? You know, the fact that there have been, even not just this year, but you have to include the losses that teams took for the last half of last season as well. You know, I mean, yeah, they're in a point where the league is trying to get the eyeballs back and they want to replicate what they get every February, right? But at the same time, you know, I think that we have to remember this whole lifestyle that we're all living these days, that optics is a big part of it. Setting an example is a big part of what being a leader, whether you're a sports franchise, a sports team, or a sports league, you have to set the right example. And the NBA is clearly setting the wrong example by continuing to go forward with this. Yes, I know that Adam Silver's already said he is, saying nobody should be hosting parties. There shouldn't be any of the outside events going on. This is purely just the game. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. That's not happening. There are going to be there have been parties, and they're not connected to the All-Star. This is connected just, to living in Atlanta, Georgia. There have been people who've been partying. There have been, the indoor activities. The clubs have been still happening. The bars have still had people full of them. So this is not that him saying that is not going to change. The mayor of Atlanta even came out, I believe it was yesterday. Keisha Lance Bottoms came out and said, essentially, we understand what the NBA is trying to do. We have to agree to, in principle, to the fact that they at least want to have the game, but we don't want anybody coming to our city because we know the state that we're already in, and we just are nervous what could happen beyond this. I mean, I'm thinking about my parents. My parents live in the city. They're still having to interact in the world with other people. I just want to make sure that people in Atlanta are being safe, and I just think that the fact that we're still going to push through with this game, it's not the safest decision, and it's also not the best look optically that the NBA could pursue right now.
And before you jump in, Ed, and get your take, I want to read this. This is something that Adam Silver said, and I thought it was interesting in everything that we're talking about here, where he says, there were obviously those who thought we shouldn't play without fans, that we shouldn't play in the bubble, that we shouldn't be playing in a very serious way because of the social justice issues rolling in this country. So I certainly hear the other side of this issue here. And I'll lastly say it seems like no decisions during this pandemic come without uncertainty and come without risk. This is yet another one of them. And yet it is my job to balance all those interests. And ultimately, it feels like the right thing to do to go forward.
Yeah, that is such a tough decision for Adam Silver and the NBA to do, to try to do this balancing act where you're like, okay, yeah, we want to do an all-star game. We want to do it as safe as possible. And we want to limit the amount of people that are traveling with the players. They're going to fly on private jets and everything. And they're going to be limited to the hotel room or going to State Farm Arena where the game is going to be played. But still, I like the fact that on a side note, the NBA and the NBAPA is going to commit almost $3 million in funds toward HBCUs and toward more COVID research and vaccines. So there's another added incentive to actually having this all-star game outside of the fact that it gives us even more of a release and even more of something else to watch. Coley and Johanna and PLR. We can sit back and watch the all-star game and on March 7th and enjoy that. Yeah, that's just another game to enjoy. And the fact that the league and the NBAPA are going to invest millions of dollars toward HBCUs and hopefully getting more vaccines out here so we can get more people vaccinated and hopefully we can eradicate this COVID virus that much quicker.
I'm going to tell you something real quick. Being a true Chicagoan, and this comes from knowing a bunch of people. When you have a brownstone and your floor starts to get bad and your linoleum is looking torn up, you know what you do? You don't rip that linoleum up. You put some linoleum on top of that linoleum. And then when that goes bad, you put some linoleum on top of that linoleum. By saying we're going to donate money to HBCUs, by saying we're going to donate money towards COVID, $3 million, all you're doing is putting linoleum on top of linoleum because the NBA, there are players who gambled $3 million in Vegas on a weekend. That's such a small amount for the risk that they're taking. So even though I appreciate what they're doing, everyone should appreciate what they're doing because no one should say no when great causes are getting money. But they're waving their left hand, but they're sticking their hand in your pocket with the right hand. Every league does that. Whenever they want to do something that they think will draw ire, they donate money. We go all the way back to LeBron's decision. The thing was absolutely a staged shipwreck, but he donated a lot of money to Boys and Girls Club. So